What's going on, LEGO fans? Welcome back. Alex here. In this video, we're going to do a how to build an Avengers Tower from Lego bricks. I'm going to go ahead and just go off of my own design here. I made this one some years ago, and I got a lot of requests for people asking for instructions or what pieces that I use. And so I think just the best approach here is to just do a video, go over this section by section. I'm going to just focus on the exterior only, not the interior. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a good idea of what you'll need to make an Avengers Tower that will hopefully look something similar to this. When I began my project, I did it by buying 4 of the Attack on Avengers Tower Lego sets. This is the instruction manual for one of them. I built one to its completion so I can get an idea of the designer's approach on the building itself, and basically just followed that instruction manual as you see here, obviously just making it a lot bigger and improvising where I needed to. We'll start with the base. You'll notice that it has these dark gray base plates that it's on. I've used 3 16 by 32 dark gray base plates to start on. We'll start in the back and just try to imagine there's nothing on the interior. Now these columns, these 4 columns right here are actually part of the structure. I'll cover that in just a moment, but I had to keep them there so it's kind of giving me an idea of where things are going in. Now we'll start with the back part here. This is the window element here. You want to put this together just like this, a big square, and using 8 of these windows and these light gray elements. Doesn't matter how many gray elements you have, just as long as they fill this in completely. These elements right here are not exactly necessary, they're just there for show. We're going to place them right here, not actually in the very middle of the plates. So if you look at these plates, it's actually going to be, the center would actually be 1 stud over. This is going to be 1 off to the left a little bit, and there's a reason for that. We'll cover just a little bit. So there is the beginning. So let's go ahead and turn this thing around. Now the front is going to be the door. So this requires a little bit of special arrangement because we want to have the doors be sliding doors. Now if you don't want to do this, you can skip it and just have doors that open and close, very similar to the front. The only difference is that your doors are going to have just the opening and closing pane, but this time I'm actually going to have them slide open. I thought that was kind of cool to have that. So that requires 4 of these lip elements. They're like little gutter elements that stick out pretty far that allow this to slide freely along those. And there's just 1 that goes along that, and then the rest of the build is very similar to their side. So to get this to the same height as the back one, so we match that, we have to make sure that 3 plates, remember 3 plates equal 1 brick, so we have 1 here and 1 there, so we have to make 1 here as well. So this one plus these 2 gutter bricks are going to give us 1 whole brick. So I'm going to place that right there. And I have these 2 cheese wedge elements right there to actually stop the doors. Okay, see how that works? So now they can open and close without falling out. So now let's look at the curved edges right here. These are going to be these elements to the left. There's going to be 16 of these you need. 8 of these that are completed like this. So you're going to have 3 of these kind of curved moon-shaped elements and 2 of these window elements there. And these are going to go right along where the door ends, and then now you can see where the pillar is supposed to be. So now these pillars, let me pull one out here for you, so you can see with these. I just had a lot of these in my collection, so I just put this 1 1 1 1 1 all the way through, along with these little circular tiles. Now you can actually just put wall elements all the way up and down. It doesn't really matter what you use, so long as it reaches just 1 brick shy. So we're going to do this on all sides. We'll start with these here. Now it's starting to take shape. Next we'll build out of the structure, or away from the structure. So what you'll need next is 2 of these in completion, a lot of wall elements and translucent wall elements. You'll notice that I have this sloping translucent element. This is just what came with the Lego set itself, and I didn't have a 1x2 brick. So if you have a 1x2 brick that's translucent, use that, but I didn't have it, so I'm using these, but it still works just fine. So we're going to place 1 right here, like so. And then we have 1 more just like this. Again, these are not necessary, they're just there for decoration. Alright, and that's going to go on the left side there. And on the other side, something very similar, but this time it's just going to be the translucent bricks, just like this, right? So you'll notice I already have this on the ground. So from top, or bottom to top I should say, it's going to look something like this. And that's going to go right there, right square against that, that column, one of those four main columns on the interior. And here's the other one right there. And now we're ready to add some more of these. So we can add the other four here. Now ready to put the sidewalls in, and this is just what they look like. Very similar to the back, they're just 4 studs shorter. Okay, and we're just going to fit those in right on the edge. Okay, now at this point you'll notice that everything's kind of flimsy, nothing's really connected, and this is where something very important comes into play. So we need to make sure they're all connected. So we have these tile elements that I'm going to put in here to connect them all. Now you'll notice that I do have some other just regular plate elements that I have surrounding this, and this is just to hold down the section above it. So let's go ahead and fill all this in all the way around. Make sure we get the front too. This is going to be very satisfying to kind of click it all together. Have your Avengers Tower start to finally like it's looking like an actual tower. Now, I know that Lego has now come out with an element, let me reach it over here, that's curved like this little moon element, and that would actually fit perfectly right here. Notice I have a gap right here, which is kind of annoying when there's a plate above it, you can see through it. But this would actually solve that problem. However, if I put it there, it wouldn't actually connect to anything above it. It would still be free from the structure. So with that little issue, I'm not going to I'm not in a huge rush to replace them all with those elements. So let's finish this up, and then we'll move on to the support beams. The support beams are going to be very important because it's what's going to be holding up a lot of the stuff on top. And this is a very heavy building. So I've got these Technic elements that I've put together to kind of create a beam that goes across and put tiling on top of it, because this is what the upper section is going to rest on. So I'm going to put this along here so it matches those columns on the interior. If I can actually get it to catch that. There we go. Okay, and I have it sticking out this way because I have an element right here that's going to sit right there on this side of it, and then the main structure is going to sit on this side. Okay, so we'll do the same thing over here. And once those are in, the base is pretty much done. Take one quick look around this thing just to make sure everything looks like it's ready to go. We have tiles all the way around it and certain plates sticking up here and there to kind of hold the upper structure in place, here and here, as well as right there. Okay, now since we moved that the back section, we're building this one stud over on this plate, but you'll notice that I have 5 studs free on that side and 5 studs free on this side, so it's exactly even on the base plates. The next section is by far the biggest and heaviest part of the tower. I like to actually call it the core. It contains nothing but dark gray stone elements. We've got the core on top of the base. Now the core, the bottom of the core here is 28 studs this way and 24 studs that way. You'll have this element right here. You'll see the lip from the support beam in there. I have by far the smallest section of Avengers Tower here, just these plates right here, just to cover up that spot. Put that in there, and you'll see that it rests on that support beam there. Very, very well supported. Middle section again uses a lot of windows. There's 21 of these window elements on each side, and you'll notice that on each floor the window begins right where the plate begins. So the first floor, or the first level of that section anyway, has a row of 5, then it goes 4, 4, 3, 3, and then finally just 2 at the top. So you'll notice that on this side, this is where we have that slanted side of Avengers Tower. So there's a pattern that you need to follow where these window elements end. So right here, we look at the first level. You have the first level of bricks right along here all the way across. And then you have these two sloping bricks that are each 3 bricks height. For the top one, you'll have just 3 1x1 bricks. And then on the other one, of course, obviously to fill that up, is 3 1x2 bricks. Now you'll notice the cracks that these are all 1x1 bricks. I just had to use what I had, and I didn't have enough of those 1x2s. Now up top here, same thing. You'll always end each floor with a row of bricks, and then you're going to create a bunch of plates in between for dividing the floors up. And then, of course, follow the same process again with following those bricks all the way across from the beginning. Now you'll notice though that I have these protruding by 2 studs from this floor all the way up on this thing, and that is on purpose, and you'll see why when I get to the next section. But this is very important to have these extra 2 studs sticking out on just the plates on each floor, starting with this one all the way up. So getting back to our pattern, we did this one and we're on this one. So again, the slopes are just there exactly the same way, but this time it's a 1x3 for 3 rows, and then a 1x4 for 3 rows as well. Now these are the middle 2 floors of the 6 floors of the core. Again, following the same pattern with those slopes. These are 1x1s, and then 1x2s, and then up here they're 1x3s, and then 1x4s. And then here we are, the very top 2 floors. Again, same pattern. The very top one, you'll notice that the top section here, if I take this off, you'll notice that there are just a bunch of plates stuck to each other. But they're the height, there's 3 rows of plates. And I did that just because I was out of brick elements. So you do not need to have these as plates, they can be bricks. But the very top does need to have these tiles that protrude by 1 on this side. And then of course, try to get a plate, a 1x1 plate on this end. In fact, if I turn this way a little bit, you can say, or you can see that it's the exact same thing on that side as well. And of course, the continuation of those floors sticking out by 2 studs all the way up and down on those 5 floors. This next section is definitely a lot of fun, a lot easier going here. This is just the wall that will be slanted against the Avengers Tower. Obviously, a lot of window elements needed here. We'll start at the bottom. I just started with a few plates. I have 2 1x6 plates and 1 1x4 plate starting this off, and I just build the window elements on top of that. The next part right here, these are the gutter or lip elements. I don't really know the actual name of these. I put these on here just because I had them. You don't need to have these. They can just be tiles, or not tiles, but plates as well. And in here I have plates. Looks like I have 1, 2, 3 1x4 plates and 2 1x2 plates. Doesn't really matter the size as long as they fill that area. Again, this section right here, just that gutter element there. And at the very top we have these actual bricks. You don't need to have this be a Technic element. I just did that for decoration. And then I finished it off using these dark gray stone tile elements. Now, before we put this wall of window elements on here, I just want to emphasize the importance of making sure that the plate elements are actually 2 studs inside of where your bricks end here. So it's almost as if you're pushing everything forward by 2 studs, because on their side they're sticking out by 2 studs, but in here they're going to be inverted by 2 studs. So let's go ahead and put this thing on. Let me just move the camera back and let's see if we did everything right. We're going to just pop it on the bottom here, put it 1 stud in on the bottom, and it's just going to sit right there and lean against the building. There we go. And you'll notice that it can be pulled out, and that's actually why I like these lip elements. So you just grab them and pull this right on out. It is not secured at the bottom. It's not pushed into any elements. It's just leaning and resting against the building. Now you might be thinking like, well, what happens if it falls out? Well, when we put the top section on, it actually secures it. Let me move the camera up there so you can see where it is at the end. So it should be just barely underneath the top there. In fact, let me move the camera up here. You can see how that all fits together. Very, very close right there at the edge. So when you have the other section on top of this, if you move it forward, it will actually hit that and not allow it to go forward. Here is the wall section, and this is kind of a funny looking section, but That, of course, is on purpose. Let me stand this thing up here so you can see the inside. Again, you'll notice that there's an invert of 2 studs for each floor above the first floor, and now you know why we did that for each floor on the core section, because that's going to stick in there like a puzzle piece and just kind of help with the stability of the build, because this is a tall building. You don't want it to be swaying too much, but of course you want to be able to take it apart if you're moving it. So this is all part of the build, with it all coming together but staying together. So the bottom here is 8 studs deep. Let me kind of show you the bottom here. Each floor is going to have those curved plate elements. With the exception of the bottom, every single one has 2 of those 4x6 plates in between those curved plate elements. On the exterior, the pattern is quite simple. From the top, or from bottom to top, you're going to have the gray plates, you're going to have the light gray bricks, followed by windows, followed by light gray bricks, and then of course the next tile, or not tiles, but plates for the next floor. And you do that over and over again all the way up until you get to this funny looking top section. So this top section is actually going to hug the top of the core section. So let's go ahead and see if I can't put this into place with using one hand. So again, it's like a puzzle. We're going to put it at the base right there, and then at the top, doing this with one hand, this is interesting. There we go. I'm going to slide right on in there. Boom. Push it down. Nice and secure at the bottom. You'll see that it's got some nice continuity from the base all the way up to the top. And if we've done our math right, this should match perfectly with the top of the core. And then those 2 1x1 plates should match evenly just right there. So as this is coming up, and I think I forgot to mention that you'll need these translucent blue wall elements to kind of fill the other side all the way up and down these. And then you have a lot of these gray elements. I think actually, I think I have some in here. Yeah, there we go. You'll need a lot of these going up and down those, and not to mention a lot of 1x2 light gray bricks. But when it gets to this point, that's when you're going to want to curve it out. So you have this tree branch type element there that you'll have just continue out there. And how you want to decorate this really is up to you. I figured this was the easiest way to do it. But yeah, this lip is going to cover a little bit of that top window, which is just fine. And everything now should be nice and even and ready for the next section. The next section gets kind of exciting. This is where your Quinjet's going to land, of course, if it was big enough for a Quinjet, which is not really. But you'll notice that the pad here has these tubings that go around it. This is elements that came with the Attack on Avengers Tower set. They're not exactly railings. They're not going to like stop somebody from, tripping and falling back. If Tony were to fall, I'm sure Thor would help him out and save him. Now, in the middle here, you'll notice that I have stairs. This is probably something you've been asking. Where are the stairs? Where's the elevator in this? When I designed this, I didn't have the resources to put an elevator in, so I just built it floor by floor without any way to get in or out. So if you're a person that absolutely must have that, what I would recommend you do is put the staircase or elevator shaft kind of right here in the middle, very middle of the base, so that actually goes up right along this window right here, these gray windows. And I think that should match pretty well with where these stairs are in this section. So you'll notice that this thing is pretty thick, which it has to be. So this has a lot of these dark gray elements. Let me go ahead and see if I can peel off a couple of these at the bottom. You can see how this is all constructed. Whoops, there we go. All right, so there's a lot of different colored elements in here, bricks that are just holding it together. So there's a lot of these plates on the top, and then you have a bunch of these multicolors just holding it together on the other side. Let me see if I can peel another one off just to kind of give you a glance at what else might be under there. Yeah, see, there we go. They're all over the place, right? So I finally found a good use for these bulkier elements that were in my collection. I'll go put that back together. And these right here, these elements are important to make sure you have something like this that you can build sideways on, because that's where we're going to put the A for Avengers. So on the other side, again, just using a lot of these window elements, I think all in all with the entire project, there's I think 84 of these window elements and about 36 of these curved side elements there. I'm not sure how many of these there are though. Quite a few of those as well. They kind of fill in this area, but see, you can kind of see this is a very, very basic wall around Shouldn't be too hard to follow. I mean, if you've built it to this point, this shouldn't be too difficult actually, but I didn't have the same color of paint for the door, unfortunately, so it's clear, but maybe you'll have better look than I did. All right, so let's go ahead and put on the next section. So the final floor of the Avengers Tower is this beast right here. Kind of made this more of a control tower. Didn't really go crazy with it, as you can see, but there is space for people to walk up because you have that staircase. And just again trying to make good use of the elements that I had with the set itself. It had these protruding cockpits right here. This doesn't have to be exact. You can do whatever you want. This is kind of where you get to be very creative, just to make this look as modern and techy as possible. So again, following the same design with these window elements all the way around. Nothing varying from that design. One good thing about this is that there is quite a bit of repetition. Repetition is good when you're building these things. So we put that thing right on top of that, like so. There we go. Whoop, maybe. There we go. Let me scooch that out of the way. Let me show you the piece of resistance right here. And this is the roof. Now, this is actually built exactly as the instructions had me build it. So I just kept that the same. I think this is where Stark's little suit flies out to save his butt when he's falling off the building. So yeah, that's really about it. So let's go ahead and let's put this on the top right here. And let's put this thing together again. With it all back together, let's go ahead and test out this wall of windows here. You can see if I pull this out, it does hit the top there, so it doesn't fall out. To get this out, you don't have to take the top off. You can actually push up like this and then take it out just fine like that. So no problem there. That you can show off the interior however you want to do this. I have a bunch of weird stuff in there. I even have a weight room for Captain America. How about that? So let's go ahead and put this back in there and slide it in like that. And make sure it's all looking good. Awesome. Okay, so that being together, let's take a look at this thing. You'll notice that there's one more thing missing, and that, of course, is the A on the side of the building. This is it. I really don't know how to explain or describe how this is built, other than just to show it to you the best I can here. I just used a few of these elements, these kind of curved elements that look like almost like a circle, and a lot of hinge elements to make things work there on the back. And you can kind of see how the A is made with these white tiles, and then of course I can connect them to these elements that protrude that way. Let's see if I can remember how they go on. I think that's right. There we go. All right, let's take a look at it here, and there it is, Avengers Tower in its entirety. I think that's going to wrap things up for now, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that and got something out of it. I'm sure some of you would probably want me to go into some greater detail on the build, but I hope at least you got a good idea of what you need in order to build something very similar to this. Even if you can't acquire the exact pieces you need, maybe you can improvise and get to something very similar. I mean, I had to do a lot of improvising as well. If I had unlimited resources, I would probably make this thing 4 studs wider. Like, for example, the side here, instead of 3 windows, I'd put 5 windows, and then I'd have more than enough space to put in a stairwell as well as an elevator. But yeah, maybe someday, right? Now, this project did cost me about $360. Most of it wasn't in my private collection. I think the base plates were the only thing that I really had. Hopefully, if you want to do something that's very similar to this, it doesn't cost too much more than that. But man, these Lego bricks can get quite costly. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for now. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And until next time, you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.